Nightly News begins now.
From NBC News World Headquarters in New York, this is NBC Nightly News with Brian Williams.
Good evening. The bulletin late today came from the campus of Northern Illinois University, a big school about an hour due west of Chicago. A young man had fired a gun at students in a lecture hall. There have been too many of these campus shootings lately, and when it happened, we saw some now familiar reactions. The campus-wide security lockdown as a fleet of ambulances arrived. Sketchy initial reports gave way to harder information late in the day. We begin tonight with what we do know from NBC's Kevin Tibbles of our Chicago bureau. Kevin, good evening.
Good evening, Brian. Well, tonight the campus of Northern Illinois University is in mourning after a gunman burst into afternoon classes, killing 5 and injuring more than a dozen others before turning the gun on himself. A young man walked into a lecture hall on the campus of the Northern Illinois University and started firing. This video was taken on a cell phone. Witnesses say as many as 200 students were in a geology class when the young man walked in armed reportedly with a shotgun and 2 handguns.
He walked in, he had a black beanie, like a long black trench coat and a shotgun, and he just walked in and just started shooting at people just randomly.
The shootings took place in Cole Hall in the center of campus. At 3:20 p.m., the school's website warned students there has been a report of a possible gunman on campus and get to a safe area and take precautions. By 4:14 p.m., campus police reported that the immediate danger has passed. The gunman is no longer a threat. Numerous ambulances and police vehicles converged on the snow-covered campus.
There are 18 victims now at Kishwaukee Hospital. 2 have been transferred to regional hospitals.
This photo, seen on the school newspaper's website, apparently shows one victim being taken to an ambulance. The shooting left frantic parents desperate for news about their children's safety.
How do you help your children when people are just walking randomly around shooting everyone?
Today's shootings come in the wake of last April's tragic shootings at Virginia Tech. Just last December, the campus of Northern Illinois was closed after a threat referring to Virginia Tech was found scribbled on a bathroom wall. Again, the latest numbers this evening from the authorities. 6 are dead at Northern Illinois University, including the shooter, more than a dozen others injured. Brian?
Kevin Tibbles in our Chicago bureau tonight. Kevin, thanks. Now to presidential politics. In our busy election season, there was another big development today for Republicans. Mitt Romney endorsed John McCain. But there's no such closing of the ranks for the Democrats. We begin our reporting with our own Kelly O'Donnell in Boston. Hey, Kelly, good evening.
Good evening, Brian. One of the biggest jobs for John McCain is to try to unite Republicans and conservatives behind his candidacy. That got easier today as we watch some of the bitterness of the primary season put aside. John McCain's campaign added a surprise stop in Boston late today to pick up one very valuable vote.
I am honored today to give my full support to Senator McCain's candidacy for the presidency of the United States.
Just 1 week after Mitt Romney reluctantly ended his own presidential run.
This isn't an easy decision. I hate to lose.
How is it that you're the expert on my position?
A fierce, contentious rivalry became a partnership for the sake of the Republican Party, as Romney asked his delegates to support McCain.
With their rhetoric, our Democratic opponents are very skilled at striking heroic poses. But with a Republican nominee, we're going to offer America the real thing.
In Rhode Island today, John McCain peppered his standard campaign speech with new jabs at Barack Obama.
And the senator from Illinois, who says that he wants transparency in government, will not reveal the number of earmarks that he received in 2006 and 2005.
McCain has long railed against taxpayer-funded pet projects, known as earmarks, that lawmakers tack on to unrelated legislation. McCain trumpets that he requested 0 earmarks, while Hillary Clinton secured $342 million for her state Talking about Obama's earmarks, McCain made a subtle point on experience.
The senator from Illinois, because he's junior, had only gotten about 92 million.
Well, we kind of wondered if anybody would even show up.
In Wisconsin, McCain's remaining challenger, Mike Huckabee, reacted to the Romney endorsement, saying, "People just don't want to feel left out." And Mike Huckabee's headed to the Cayman Islands this weekend to deliver a paid speech. Now, it's described as motivational, not political. And Huckabee points out that Senators Clinton, Obama, and McCain each take a government salary, whereas Huckabee has had no personal income since his job as Arkansas governor ended. Brian?
Kelly O'Donnell at the scene of the endorsement in Boston today. Kelly, thanks. Now to the Democrats. Hillary Clinton got some good news today. State party officials in New Mexico confirmed that she won that primary, which was held on Super Tuesday, but has been too close to call until now. However, Barack Obama maintains his national lead in delegates. Time is running short, and the Clinton campaign knows it. Here's NBC's Andrea Mitchell.
On Valentine's Day, there was no love lost between Hillary Clinton and Barack Obama. She stepped up her attacks today in Ohio, which votes March 4th.
You know, some people may think words are change, but you and I know better. Words are cheap. I know it takes work.
She's also hitting Obama hard for refusing to debate in Wisconsin, which votes Tuesday.
Maybe he'd prefer to give speeches than have to answer questions.
Late today, his campaign responded.
It's the same old politics of phony charges and false attack.
In Ohio, a new poll has her ahead by 21 points. And she got a big welcome in Texas, another March 4th state. But the campaign is struggling. She's only now opening offices in key states and is short on cash.
They got to February 5th after Super Tuesday. They woke up the next morning and didn't appear to have a strategy for going forward.
According to the Wall Street Journal, tempers flared between top advisors Mandy Grunwald and Mark Penn over ads and strategy.
You've had a lot of people leaving, you've had new people coming in, and there are a lot of long-standing rivalries in the Clinton campaign that are clearly causing it a lot of problems.
That can lead superdelegates to defect, like this New Jersey woman long committed to Clinton who today switched to Obama.
Something about Obama just seems to generate you and make you want to be part of this movement.
But even though Obama has the momentum for now, neither is likely to win a clear majority of delegates. So who could break a deadlock? Party insiders say the only Democrat with enough clout is Al Gore. Andrea Mitchell, NBC News, New York.
With all the hubbub surrounding this presidential election season, it's important to remember the business of Congress goes on, at least it's supposed to. The Republicans, though, in the House stopped all work for a time today and staged a walkout. They left the House chamber to protest the Democrats' refusal to renew the Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Law, which expires this week. The United States may be about to fire off a missile to hit an incoming object. The Pentagon plans as early as next week to shoot a U.S. spy satellite out of orbit with a surface-to-air missile before the satellite can crash down to Earth. We get this story from our chief Pentagon correspondent, Jim Miklaszewski. Jim, this will be something to see.
Absolutely, Brian. It's Star Wars all over again. Nobody has any idea where this disabled satellite might land or who it might hit. So the Navy's going to launch a missile from a ship in the Pacific. It's supposed to intercept the disabled satellite, which is about the size of a school bus, smash it into thousands of pieces, and destroy the toxic fuel cell on board to reduce the risk to people on the ground. The first missile could be fired a week from today. If it misses, the military's got 2 more, so they could get off a couple of more shots over several days. Now, military officials admit the risk to people on the ground is relatively small. So some critics are claiming this shoot-down may be more about showing off the gee-whiz technology to any threat to people on the ground, Brian.
We'll be watching Jim Miklaszewski on duty at the Pentagon tonight. Thanks. In the immediate aftermath of Katrina, a lot of people thought we didn't take proper care of our own citizens. Tonight, a new report out on the safety of those FEMA trailers people have been living in shows we are still not taking proper care of our fellow citizens. People are being told to get out of those trailers if they possibly can afford to because of dangerous formaldehyde levels. From our New Orleans bureau tonight, here's NBC's Ron Mott.
In the wake of Hurricanes Katrina and Rita, they were a lifesaver for tens of thousands left homeless. Today, those gleaming white FEMA travel trailers were declared a health hazard by the federal government. The recommendation, get out ASAP.
We're going to move people out. We're going to be very aggressive about it to get people out of these units and into some decent housing.
61-year-old retiree Freddie Williams said his FEMA trailer was indecent almost from the moment he and his wife first stepped inside.
For the first month or so, we could not even live in the trailer. The odor was horrendous. We had to leave the windows open.
After numerous medical complaints linked to formaldehyde use in glue and plywood, FEMA and the CDC tested the air quality of 519 travel trailers and mobile homes. They found formaldehyde levels on average about 5 times higher than a traditional house. In one unit, the exposure was nearly 60 times the usual amount. Congressional Democrats today cried foul.
When the agency's own test said that these trailers were dangerous, FEMA ordered its own personnel to stay out of them, but failed to warn the people living in them.
Of the estimated 144,000 trailers issued, nearly 39,000 are still in use from Texas to Alabama. And finding alternative housing won't be easy. Many communities along the Gulf Coast have struggled to rebuild, and whatever housing is available is typically very expensive. Despite potential risk, FEMA says it's going ahead with plans to send mobile homes that have been in storage to victims of last week's deadly tornadoes in the south, claiming the mobile homes are safer. As FEMA begins pulling up stakes, some residents like Rosemary Churchill
I think FEMA should be responsible for my medicine bills.
have worries beyond just a place to live. Ron Mott, NBC News, New Orleans.
Just keeps going. Coming up here as we continue this Thursday evening, they cover most of the surface of the Earth, and they are in trouble. Ann Thompson's report on our planet tonight. And a happy Valentine's Day here in America for a little girl who is a long way from home. We're back and now to our planet, specifically the health of our oceans. A new study shows we've turned them into something of troubled waters. In fact, researchers found 41% of the world's marine ecosystems have now been heavily damaged. We get more tonight from our chief environmental affairs correspondent, Ann Thompson.
Boston's harbor, still the city's hub of business, transportation, and pleasure, and a prime example of man's impact on the oceans, according to a study out today in the journal Science.
We've got a lot of land-based pollution that runs off from factories and agriculture, and just the urban runoff.
The study says there is no area of the oceans unaffected by man. Climate change, commercial fishing, and transportation are among the biggest problems, raising surface water temperatures, harming marine life, and changing the chemistry of the seas, putting ecosystems such as coral reefs and the fish-rich continental shelves at risk. The most impacted areas include the waters between China and Japan, the North Sea, and the northeast coast of the United States. But if we change our ways, the authors say the oceans can recover.
We've seen that when you set aside areas in protected zones, the fish and the other organisms come back.
One such solution is happening right here in Massachusetts Bay, where some business interests and environmental concerns no longer collide. And all it took was a simple change.
To protect the mammals below and the ships above. 3 endangered species of whales feed in the same waters where freighters cruise into Boston Harbor. That led to collisions and, in some cases, whale deaths.
It's a rigid model.
Conservation biologist Dave Wiley mapped where the whales fed in the Stellwagen Bank and then convinced the government to reroute the ship traffic last summer, moving the lanes north and east.
It brings the ships through areas that the whales don't use, where they used to go through areas that the whales use quite heavily.
The dangers to whales, ships, and man reduced, so all can coexist in the open waters. Ann Thompson, NBC News, Boston.
Quick look now at Wall Street. Both the Dow and the Nasdaq posted steep declines after the Federal Reserve Chairman forecast sluggish growth ahead. And in Washington today, a memorial service for longtime Congressman and human rights activist Tom Lantos, where Bono was among those eulogizing him. He sang a Valentine's Day love song to the congressman's wife of 58 years. The couple had been childhood sweethearts, finding each other again after escaping the Holocaust.
All you need is love.
We're back with NBC News in depth tonight, and we continue with Ann Curry's extraordinary reporting from Africa. The war in the Democratic Republic of the Congo has claimed millions of lives and made the world a living hell on earth for so many people, including tens of thousands of children armed and on the front lines. And that's a war crime. Ann Curry is with us again tonight from Goma. Ann, good evening.
Brian, good evening. Congo has the world's highest number of children in armed groups. 40,000 children have emerged from the battlefields here since 2003. 2 of them are the focus of our report tonight. And again, we have chosen to change their names to protect their identities. Gabrielle and Pascal could be boys anywhere, but theirs is a friendship seared by the cruelest turn of fate. 2 years ago, soldiers burst into Gabrielle's village classroom, grabbing him and 7 of his classmates. 3 weeks later, and just 14, Gabrielle found himself on the front line in Congo's brutal war, armed with an automatic weapon. If an officer gave you an order and you didn't obey it, then you would be shot for not respecting them, he says. The officers executed the children who couldn't keep up. He saw children killed, some his friends. I was scared when I was fighting. When I saw someone in front of me, I would shoot, and he would be killed. How many people do you think you might have killed? He says, I have no way of knowing how many people I have killed. When a UN force attacked his unit with heavy weapons, Gabriel escaped to the safety of UN troops. Then UNICEF brought him to this special transit center in Goma. There are 130 children like Gabrielle here, from all armed factions. Many are suffering from post-traumatic stress. The program's goal is to get them to realize they are not soldiers, but children, and to learn to live with their old enemies.
What we're seeing here is just of a scale and a nature that is devastating for an entire generation of Congolese children.
Pascal is another child who lost his childhood. From a poor family, he enlisted at 13 on the promise he'd be paid $25 a month. He soon regretted his decision. I saw a lot of soldiers dying, he says, including one of his friends. He was shot in the chest. I saw him fall and ran away. Pascal killed too. When I think about the people I have killed, I ask whatever happened to my life, he says. The boys bonded over their battle experience. But one day, Gabrielle and Pascal realized something they never imagined. They had been on opposing sides in the same battles. It's possible I killed Gabrielle's friends, and when he was shooting in my direction, he could have killed my friends. But now, all that matters is their friendship. Whenever Gabrielle has something to eat, he shares it with me and looks after me, Pascal says. Does it seem foolish that you were fighting each other? It doesn't bother me, Gabrielle says. I know that yesterday Pascal was my enemy, but now he is my brother. It is still too dangerous for Pascal and Gabrielle to return home. In some places, up to 50% of the children are taken back by armed groups, Brian.
And we thank you again tonight for your reporting from there and for telling their stories to us. And we wanted to tell all of you, Ann Curry has answered a number of your questions sent in to us online. It's on our website at nightly.msnbc.com. We're back with more right after this. An opportunity to tell you about heroic Americans in Iraq. We wanted to bring you up to date on a story we did recently about a brave young Iraqi who came to America for help. She's 2 years old. Her name is Amina, and she is under care tonight at the Vanderbilt Children's Hospital in Nashville. Our own Martin Savage picks up the story from there.
Though she may not have looked like it when we first met Amina, she was dying.
Untreated, she was going to pass away.
So Monday morning, as doctors prepared to operate, everyone knew there was a good chance Amina might not survive. A copy of the Quran and a guardian angel went with her into the OR. Life for Amina had already changed dramatically, coming from the war-scarred town of Haditha in Iraq to the home of Steve and Sarah Berger in rural Tennessee to await the operation. Amina is Muslim. Steve, the pastor of a local Christian church. The couple says they had to help.
It didn't take 1 second for me to respond and say, we'll take him. We'll take him.
It's been the same story for every person Amina has touched. for the Marines who found her.
Amina charmed all of them and quickly charmed me as well.
And the hospital and doctors who treated her for free. This was their moment of truth. The operation was a success. For the first time in her life, 2-year-old Amina's heart is now whole.
Everything is very good.
As fate would have it, we were reunited on Valentine's Day. The hope is that Amina and her mother could be on their way back to Iraq in as little as 3 weeks. But there are problems. Right now, there isn't enough money to get them home. But no one has any doubt that somehow the funds will be found.
By helping Amina, sending her back to Iraq, she is going to make the world a better place.
It would be easy to say many people touched Amina's life, but every one of them would say it was just the opposite. It was she who touched theirs. Martin Savage, NBC News, Nashville.
How about that to end our broadcast for this Thursday night? Thank you, as always, for being with us. I'm Brian Williams. Happy Valentine's Day. We hope to see you right back here tomorrow evening. Good night.